Hopefully this doesn't cut off on me. So, the carnivore community grows and people fall apart. That's the name of this video, and there's a reason for that. If you notice that the bigger things get, the more things get blown out of proportion, the more things it just seems like there's always somebody in the community that wants to be known for something. There's always somebody in the community that wants to be known as like the utmost, like superior superpower that has the majority of the information in any community. You know, first Dr. Berg came out, and actually first Dr. Eric Westman came out back in the 80s. Dr. Berg came on scene as the major social media figure, and he took off and started gaining thousands and thousands. And then we had Thomas DeLauer, and you know, he's just a sports nutritionist, trainer, writer guy that's very, very, very smart. Don't get me wrong, super smart guy. Dr. Berg's a smart guy too. He does things his own way. He does his own research. He doesn't claim to be the most resourceful, most knowledgeable doctor out of any of it. He just knows how to help people, and that's where the basis of what he puts out comes from. And then, you know, you have other doctors come onto the scene, and then slowly people get built up and they get brought up. But there's always going to be a prominent figure whenever it comes to something. There's always going to be somebody that was out first, but did market themselves very well, and the person is the one that ends up becoming the leading expert in this field. So, you know, Frank Tufano, he wants to be known as he wants people to give him credit for the information he puts out. If somebody else uses something that he says, he wants to be acknowledged for that. And I get the fact that that becomes an issue. I get the fact that it becomes a problem for somebody because they're not getting acknowledged. But when you're only at 40,000 subscribers and you're still a very, very small fish in the pond, you still have a very, very small impact on things overall. You had to get that information from somebody. You had to pull that from a scientific study. You had to gather that basis of information to come up with the words that you want to use in your video. And maybe somebody else could have done the same thing, but they would have chosen different words. They may have chosen a different method of explaining it than you did, and they just simply chose that the words that you used are probably pretty much spot on. Those are the words that they would like to use as well. Maybe they have a different look to them that people like that you don't have. Maybe they have a different approach or angle or sense to how they hold their pauses between when they talk, and how they move their body around, and how serious they are and how dramatic they are, that draws a different type of crowd in. There's a different approach for everything. And just because I do a video doesn't mean the next person is not going to look at something and say, man, that really worked what he did. I'm going to use that. But they do it in their own way of doing it. That doesn't mean I need credit for it. That just means that I probably inspired somebody to do something a certain way. They don't have to come back to me every single time and say, you know what, I appreciate that. It's nice, but it's not necessary. Who am I? I'm just a person that's using other information that's put out to gather it, form it in a certain way, and then project it out for other people to see if they want to pick up that information and form it and use it their own way, or project it a different way that they think their crowd may gather better from them. I don't need that knowledge. That basis wasn't created in my head. When I specifically state my experience in me creating things, I'll let you know that. But there's a lot of things that I have to research from other people. I have to read books and articles and stuff like that to get that information. I don't take credit for that stuff. I've had many people take my videos, my Jillian Michaels videos. Sorry, my phone went wacky and my internet's trying to reset and everything else, and I do apologize for this happening. When it goes through a replay, there will be it'll pick up where the internet dropped off. But the night that I did that video, and I did that video my own kind of way, I didn't go to the next person that made another video after that and say, wait a second, that was my video, you used my information. Actually, for about the first dozen people that put out a video about Jillian Michaels, it wasn't even in the same ballpark of what I did until a few popped up after that, and my video started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It went to 5,000 and then 10,000 and 15,000. And I think right now it's somewhere 16, 17,000. It kind of toppled out because there were so many people making so many videos. I didn't go to each one of these other people and say, hey, you took my ideas and you used my words and you should have gave me credit for all that. I found that video and I did all this. I didn't do that. They're all entitled to do whatever they want. Everybody's entitled to use my videos or say anything that I say. I cannot stop you from doing that. There's no credit that needs to be given for anything. It's still your crowd. It's still the people that you tailor to the way that you tailor to them. And that's just the fact of it. Frank went and looked at some of Dr. Paul Saladino's videos before, and Dr. Paul Saladino sounded very similar to many of he sounded very similar compared to many of Frank's videos before. Do I blame Dr. Paul Saladino for not giving Frank credit if he did use the exact same videos and say the exact same words? No, I don't. Because if you look of where a coffee bean comes from and how it's dispersed and how it grows and everything else, there's probably going to be a general concise or a general basis of information that comes down to how this happens. And there's not going to be 10,000 different explanations for it. They're all going to be ballpark kind of the same thing. And if I listen to you rehearse something and speak it and then put a video out to me, and then I get that information, and then I read something and I see other things that are very similar, chances are what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to a lot of the things that I've verbally heard. And I'm going to mix that up in kind of my own little way, changing things from time to time, because maybe that is how it is supposed to be explained. I think it's very trivial. I think it's very childish. I think it's very disingenuous in general of Frank to go after Dr. Paul Saladino like he did. I don't think that it was very professional, and it was very childish, a very millennial thing to do. When it came down to it, it was kind of a little bit of a self-entitled expose of, I need to have credit for this stuff because you said some of the exact same things that I did and I wasn't given credit for it. Well, it's some words, dude. You're not going to get paid for it. You're not going to be any bigger than what you are, than what the work you put into it is. People know what you do. So to go on Facebook and not Facebook, on YouTube, and make a big scene about another doctor that may have used some things that you said and you not getting credit for it, it's very childish. And I think that it's not very professional at all. And if that's how you want to be known, then great, and be known for that. But Dr. Paul Saladino, in a short amount of time, has helped so many people, it's ridiculous. The way he explained things is next to none when it comes to how carnivores explain things in general. Dr. Paul Saladino doesn't have to look at paperwork. He doesn't have to look at research stuff that's in front of him. You ask him how to fix a deficiency. You ask him how to get a mineral or a vitamin or something that you're missing. It's bam, 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 every single time. I mean, I found Dr. Paul Saladino when he was at 300 subscribers. And I started listening to what he had to say, and I think at the time he only had like 2 videos out on YouTube. And I said, man, this dude can reach a lot of people. And at 300 people, he's not growing that fast. He was like creeping along very, very slowly. And I know he'd done some videos with some other people on health stuff and all that. But I said, I got to try to run with this and try to help this guy as much as I can. So I started sharing his videos on all my keto channels. And then I started monitoring the message section of the videos that he made to help him out, stay on top of the vegans attacking him and stuff. And he would often tell me, thank you for helping me, thank you for being on top of it, you're always looking out for me, I really appreciate you, you don't have to do this. Sorry about that again. Here we are trying to let my internet get cuts in and cuts out, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a spot that I'm in or what, but anyhow, Dr. Paul Saladino came on to my keto group. I had a problem connecting, and I said, you know what, why don't you just go live, Doc, and you talk to my group, I trust you. I've been watching you for a while now. I've been trying to share you with as many people as I possibly can. Go live. You start talking to the group. Bunch of people are going to show up to hear you talk. And I'm going to ask questions in the chat box because I won't be able to go live because there's a connection. I was having an issue connecting live through my phone. And oh my God, he was amazing. It was like something I had never seen before. He was talking about using grass-fed butters because I'm just going to make something up because it has like butyrate and there's a conversion that has to happen so you can make this happen and get these short-chain fatty acids. And you got to do this to fix that. And people were just bombarding him with questions over and over and over again. But I was trying to focus on the main ones. And he was still answering my questions as well as everybody else's. Not missing a beat, not skipping a beat. And it was not rehearsed. It was looking at the camera, not at paperwork, not at computer screens. And it was just one after the other, just question after question after question. Super smart. Not like your typical doctor at all. He's more interested in the mind aspect of how carnivore helps. I think he's a psychology doctor or something. I don't know, something like that. I don't know what it is. And he is amazing. Like the information and the knowledge that he has to put out is next to none. And that doesn't come from Frank. That doesn't come from Vegan Gains. That doesn't come from Dr. Barry or anybody else. Dr. Paul Saladino is his own entity when it comes to how he explains things and the knowledge that's in his head. It's not like any other doctor out there. He's super, 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 super involved down to the nitty-gritty of what's happening inside at a cellular level. Completely, like, doesn't explain things like any other doctor. He's got his own way of doing it. I respect him. I got a little upset because this was another situation where I seen him at 300 people and I started spreading his message, his videos, brought him on my YouTube channel. We were going to do it again, but he got so big so fast, he ended up forgetting about the little guy like me. I wanted to do more videos with him. I wanted to do more Facebook group stuff with him to try to help him get out there a little bit, but he kind of took off on his own. And I was the small fish that didn't get remembered anymore. I was the small fish that would send questions now. Instead of them getting answered every single day, it was like maybe you get a response every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then he just completely quit responding. I get it. I get the fact that people get so big they just don't really have time for you anymore. And they don't remember who helped them when they were small. They don't remember that it's the guys like me that took the initiative that said, hey, come on, I really appreciate your message. I want to share you with all these groups. I want to ask the other creators and stuff to go along with you. And Doc Paul Saladino will tell you that. I did do that for him. And he was always thanking me when I did do stuff like that. And now, look, he's trending on Instagram, and he's going on all these podcasts and talking to these doctors and stuff all over the place. And I respect him. I'm a little upset that it went the way that it did, and that you know, I think I was a big player in the spread of his success early on. But you know what? I can't be upset about that stuff anymore because I can't control what somebody else does. Just like Frank can't control what somebody else does. He can't control the fact that Dr. Paul Saladino may have used some of his words or the things that he said, but then to be so trivial and so millennial-like about it, and then get on YouTube and complain about something that you should be flattered about. I don't get it. I don't get how that's professional. I mean, we need to stick together as a carnivore community, as a keto community, and be better than fighting and stuff and bickering back and forth. But the bigger it gets, the more people want to be recognized for things. The bigger carnivore gets and keto gets, the more people want to say, I was first. I've been doing this the longest. And that's not even the case for Frank. A lot of the information that Frank gets, and even Dr. Sean Baker and stuff gets, are from studies that other people have done. All that information comes from somebody else. They don't come up with that information. They can talk somewhat about their experiences and stuff like that, but that's as far as it gets. So for Frank to be mad at Dr. Paul Saladino about information that he may have used from his channel, then I should get mad at Frank and say, how come you didn't reference all these other doctors instead of posting just simple links that nobody's ever going to click on? You should have gave them verbal recognition and stuff when it came to this, not just the study. You know, and I'm reaching a little bit with that because Frank has done that before, but what I'm trying to say is you get what I'm saying here. This was a bad, this was the foul play. It should have never been done that way. Frank should have never went on and bashed Dr. Paul Saladino. It was not appropriate at all. It was not appropriate to go back and expose somebody that's doing something in an honest fashion, that's not lying about anything. He is a superpower when it comes to explaining this information, and he doesn't have to really look at a lot of research and stuff to find stuff out. It's just his knowledge base of doing things over the years that he's done, and just understanding how things work in general through some research. But he's super smart, and I think it was a bad move. I think it was a bad move for Frank, and he got a little bit of a backlash from the carnivore community. You know, that wasn't necessary. It just really wasn't necessary. I was actually more interested in meat eating and stuff like that through Robert Adkins. It didn't have anything to do with Dr. Sean Baker or Frank or any of them. It was back in circa 1980 and even before that with Robert Adkins. And that's how I got introduced into the carnivorous style diet. I just took the Adkins diet and I modified it. I didn't want any of the other stuff. I just wanted the meat that was involved. And I just ran with it. So I can't attribute that to anybody other than, Dr. Robert Adkins. Back when I was 17 years old, getting exposed to, low carb eating. And then I just kind of went carnivore on my own without even really knowing what I was doing. So that had nothing to do with, and I repeat a lot of stuff that are from scientific studies and that other doctors have said and conversations that I've had with people in the past. And there are some times where I don't cite giving that person credit because I don't remember all the time. And there's a lot of times I don't have time to do that. And there's a lot of times that they got it from somebody else and now I'm repeating what they said because I've researched it and found out they were right. You can't always give every single person credit for what information they put out. They may have used some of your stuff, but so what? Who cares? Get over it. It's not a big deal. You're still going to be frank. You're still going to know. You're still going to have the respect from people on your channel. If anything, you've now retracted from yourself because you've made a big deal out of something that was not a big deal. I don't know what else to say other than that. I mean, the information, the stuff that I use is a lot of anecdotal evidence. You'll hear me often talk about my keto groups, my trials, my tests, my little carnivore reset group where I try different foods and watch people's blood sugars go up and down and how they feel and monitor what happens. Or I might have another group. Look, I'm 70. I apologize again. Anyway, I often talk about my knowledge base that came from, a lot of the stuff that I do on my carnivore, my keto groups. What I simply find, there are some people that talk about Dr. Sean Baker not eating a well-balanced carnivorous diet. And there's oftentimes I've heard people like Frank say, well, why would you follow the Dr. Sean Baker way of doing it? Because he doesn't eat nose to tail when it comes to the animal. He eats ribeyes every single day. Well, if you actually look at the breakdown of what's in ribeye every single day, I mean, there's zinc and all these different B vitamins and all this stuff. There's a plethora of small amounts of vitamins throughout enough ribeye. And if you eat enough of it throughout the day, you can sustain enough nutrient level to a certain respect. And because we don't completely understand anything outside of the regular daily allotments when it comes to standard American foods, now we're on a carnivorous diet, we can't really be telling people that you need this much vitamin A, you need to eat this much animal, you need to eat this much for this. We're using still a lot of the same recommendations when it comes to the amount of RDAs people should get based on standard American diet or a Western diet. That's why Dr. Sean Baker doesn't have the problems that he has, is because he doesn't need all the nutrients that people think he needs because he's not consuming all the inflammatory foods, carbs, sugars, and all this other stuff that cause the problems. They cause the competition inside the cell. That cause the glut transporters not to be able to pick up vitamin C because it's in constant compete with glucose. He doesn't have to thank you. I appreciate you. The reason Dr. Sean Baker gets by with what he does is because he is at such a strict elimination version of what he does that he doesn't need anything else. His body's learned to adapt to that lifestyle, that type of food, and he gets exactly what he needs to live the lifestyle that he lives. So for one person to say you need to eat nose to tail like Dr. Paul Saladino does, or like Frank Tufano does, or maybe Bart K does, or Dr. Sean Baker doesn't agree with that completely because he's doing it a completely different way and he's successful. Every person has their own recommendations. Every person has their own way of doing it. Every single person is going to come at you from a different standpoint, a different method, a different angle, and a different view. And if somebody uses your words, your videos, or your knowledge, let them. You're helping the community out. It's not a reason to be upset about anything. But my approach is completely different as well. I have a little bit of Bart. I have a little bit of Frank. I have a little bit of Dr. Sean Baker. I have a little bit of me. And that's how it goes. There's a lot of people that have been successful off me helping them over the years because they've learned, wait, you know, that recommendation by Dr. Berg doesn't work for me, but Rich is saying that this has worked for him. Let me try that. Well, they go try it and they're like, man, dude, this works. This freaking works. Like, thank you. Not that Dr. Berg didn't know what he was talking about or Dr. Barry or anybody. I just found something else that works for me and I spoke to the right person and they tried it and it worked for them. And now they give me the credit for it. But I don't need to be constantly recognized all the time for that. Okay, great, it works for you. Maybe we have something in common, but you're going to find something else that works for me that doesn't work for you. One of the ladies in my group, Patty, she came to me and she said, look, I'm eating a yogurt and I'm putting walnuts and stuff on it, but I want to be carnivore, but I do add a walnut or a couple walnuts to my yogurt and stuff sometimes, and I'm having some issues, like I'm not feeling right. And I said, wait a second, pull the nuts completely out of your diet. Don't even do it. Pull them completely out of your diet. Don't put them in your food anymore because now you're eating this very anti-inflammatory and now you're adding nuts into it that are not carnivore, for one. And number two, they do have some oxalate count to them and stuff like that. I'm sure they can cause some inflammation because even though nuts are supposed to be heart healthy, if we look at science and what it says, we see that omega-3s are a neutral omega that can be converted into whatever omega you need in the body. And it's very natural at doing that. So with that being said, if we're focusing on nuts that are very, very high in omega-6 and very low in omega-3 by thousands of percent in some cases, then we have to start looking at, wait a second, if I'm having omega-6s that are way up here and omega-3 that are almost not even a fraction of what the omega-6 is, am I really eating something that's beneficial to my body? Maybe it does have the good healthy fats and stuff like that, but my omega-6 is out of control here. And if I'm eating foods that are super high in omega-6 and I don't have a omega-3 ratio balance to it, my body doesn't like a super high amount of omega-6. That's what science says. So why are we not saying, you know what, you're labeling this as heart healthy, but really your inflammatory markers are going to go up eating it? When she took the almonds out of her diet, she said she actually felt better. The next day, she felt better. The following day, she felt better. She said, wow, this is crazy. Just something as simple as just walnuts. I said, yes, it can be something as simple as that. You went to an extreme of eliminating every bad thing in your life, and you've cleaned yourself out, and you're reacting to your food very, very well. So you add one inflammatory thing back in, not paying attention, thinking that it's okay, and it could take several days for that to creep up on you, if not weeks, for you to start getting a reaction from it, of it building up in your system. This is what's happening. Remove it, test it out for a while. If it clears up and it doesn't come back, you know what your problem is. So there are different ways to look at this. Every single person has a way that they do things. Every single person is going to be looked at as some kind of authoritative figure to somebody, even when they're not. I've had people come up to me and say, dude, you're awesome. Thank you for changing my life. Thank you for working with my family. Thank you for working with me. And thank you for just doing all the things you've done. I haven't received a message from anybody like I received from you. So you are the reason why I have succeeded the way I have succeeded. And I have to look back and say, you know what? I probably am. But the issue is, it was a change in message, is what that person had to see. They had to see somebody with a different kind of struggle. They had to see somebody with a different point, at a different point in their life. They had to see somebody that they could relate to at a completely different level. My teeth, they're not perfect. They're jacked up. I'm overweight. I work hard. I have financial problems. I have the same issues that everybody else does. I have a different way of relaying my message. I'm not a pretty face to sit in front of the screen. I'm just a normal dude relaying a message from research and stuff that I've done in the past and helping other people. When I got into this, I didn't know what was going to be going on. When I got into this, I didn't know that I was going to make an impact in people's lives. But once I started realizing that I was making an impact in people's lives, I couldn't quit. You know how many times I've wanted to walk away from this and quit all this? You know how many negative attacking messages I get every single day from people that want to make me look bad. They don't want people to listen to me. They want to make it seem like they know more than me. It's a constant battle, and the bigger you get, especially when you start getting up there like Frank and even bigger than him, it's a constant battle. People want that spot. They want to take you out. They want to discredit you. They want to make it seem like they know more than you. And there's going to be somebody that comes along, and there's going to be somebody that does put out a message better than you eventually, and there's going to be somebody. I do apologize again. My phone keeps out. People are different people. People are going to have different messages. Nobody's really right when it comes to any of this stuff. Frank's not right. Dr. Sean Baker's not right. Dr. Barry's not right. Dr. Berg's not right. None of these doctors or people or me or anybody that you see in front of this screen is 100% right on anything that we say. All we're doing is trial and error in life, networking with other people, trying to do the best that we can and giving you options and trying to help you try. If somebody took a video and made the same exact video and said the same exact thing that I said, I could care less. Whatever, dude. Do what you got to do. If I fascinate you that much to where you want to use my words and stuff, go ahead. But I think things are getting out of control. I think Frank let vegan gains get to him too much. I think Frank let, the different vegan people get to him too much. The drama started getting drawn in. Frank started, taking off with the whole makeup on his face and the gay video and all this other stuff and how he likes boys and all this, and he ran with it, and it became comical, and his audience loves it. And I think that because more people get involved with that and more people are starting to respond to that because they're childish, they like comical, sadistic, dirty stuff, and they want to play into that side of what Frank has to offer when it comes to playing around about the gay stuff and everything else. And Frank can be funny sometimes, don't get me wrong. Frank's a good guy. Frank means very well, but Frank's young, and I don't think Frank knows how to turn that stuff off when it's time to turn it off. I've been in several live chats with him where I've talked to him and I've said, look, dude, I've got about 30 people here from my group that are watching you right now. They have questions that they've been asking and you're not answering them. Please quit screwing around and can we answer some questions? Because I brought some of my people here and I want them to hear what you have to say. And it just gets laughed at. It's kind of a maturity thing for one. I've had my moments as well. But Frank's helped a lot of people. I just wish that Frank would continue to grow and fit into this image of the YouTuber that he is, that he can be, and even more powerful than what he is. And I would hope that Frank would be flattered when somebody uses his words and his videos and stuff like that to make videos to spread the message even more, to get the carnivore message out even more. And that would be great. I mean, that would be an awesome way to do it. I've contacted Maria Emmerich and said, look, I'm going to use this. I'm going to talk about it in my video and stuff like that. And she says, go ahead, do what you got to do, use it, get the message out there. That's fine. And it's just you got to understand that none of us are doing this because we want to take somebody else's content and claim fame to it. We're doing it because we want people to heal. We want people to get healthy. We want people to know the truth. And if I have to use your message to do that, the right thing to do would be to say something to you. But at the same time, this is social media. There are no legal rights or no nothing. I don't have to get anybody's approval to do anything. I don't, this is life. And I think that a lot of these videos and stuff lately have been taken too far. I think there's a lot of goofing around and playing around and stuff lately, and we're making the carnivore and keto community look almost childish. I think we're almost looking like it's a bunch of kids or teenagers in high school that are perverts screwing around and trying to put out comical content just so we can fit in and be funny to people. And you know what? That's great. I'm all for humor. I have my own channel called the Keto Police or just Keto Police. And I would talk about things. I'm going to talk about things on that channel that I won't talk about here. I wanted people to have a channel that they can go to see the serious side of me, and then a channel that they can go to see the perverted, sadistic side of me as well, where I talk about, you know, vegan doctors, the pitcher, the catcher, and the batter, the boys that play together stay together. Just a little comical skit that people would never see that side of me on here, but they can go there and see it. There's a time and place for everything. There's a channel and a pathway that you're going to attract certain people. Certain people like that kind of stuff. And then there are certain people that want to be here because they like how serious I am. It's very disturbing as I watch this stuff and I grow slowly. And I look at how many people I've helped and the background that I have and the platforms on Facebook that I have with my groups where I interact with people, I monitor people, we go through little trials and tests and stuff together, that I actually do work. And I have it all public for people to find out. They can go see my chats, my conversations. They can go into the little groups and stuff that I've created and see what I've been doing. It's all public. It's not anything that anybody can hide. It's there. And so I speak from experience when it comes to that stuff. And a lot of the people that watch me here are from my keto groups. They know that, you know, I have some issues sometimes, don't get me wrong. But what I can tell you is I can tell you that that I'm very serious about things. And I want people to heal. And I don't care who uses my stuff. I don't care who uses my information. I don't care. I've walked away from really good people because of doing shady things. I've walked away from some really good friends because talking behind each other's back and being immature about things. And they're group creators of Facebook groups and YouTube channels and stuff like that. I've walked away from 5 or 6 people at one time because they wouldn't stop fighting amongst each other and stuff and wouldn't support each other, and it was over silly stuff. So I walked away from it all. I've done this multiple times just because it's stupid. Who cares what somebody else, if somebody uses your video, your words, or whatever, do what you do. Don't worry about what they do. I mean, the man came to you to do a live interview and you attacked him because you've seen some videos where he used some of the words that were similar to yours or were your words. Instead of sucking it up, going through the interview, growing your channel even more, showing how professional you could possibly be in that aspect and moving on from that, and just into her. It didn't happen. Frank chose to make it bigger than what it was. Anyway, if you haven't checked out Bart K's video on this and his opinion on the whole matter, you should probably do so. Bart did do a very good video on what his take on all this was. I just don't. I see it going the wrong path. I see it going the wrong route, and I would hope that it would stop. The drama would stop. The fighting would stop. The critiquing people just because you can critique people or whatever, and because they've used something that you've said or used, move on from it. Be done with it. Be bigger than that, and that's what I'm trying to do now. Is, you know, I've got a lot of things that I would like to talk to you guys about, things that have happened in the past, shady, shisty people that have backstabbed me and stuff along the way to get big and get to where they are. But my hands are tied. For one, people don't want to hear drama, and number two, it ain't gonna solve anything. It's not gonna make anything heal, or it's not gonna shed awareness. The persons that were involved with certain situations, it won't help that. It's best for me to just shut up and just move on from it. And that's what I'm going to do. I wish Frank would have done that with this, because Dr. Paul Saladino is such a sincere, smart guy that helps the community a lot. I mean, a lot. And I seen that right away when he didn't have anybody following him. When I went and started promoting his stuff, brought him on my channel, let him talk to my people and stuff like that so they can get to know him. And he was at 300 people. I mean, now I think what he's at 7 or 8,000 people in just a couple months. He's trending on Instagram and he's doing very well. He's being pulled on the Joe Rogan podcast and talking to all these doctors and doing interviews and stuff like that. And he's living the lifestyle to a T. And it's just amazing to have somebody like that. Just like Frank. It's amazing to have somebody like Frank. Frank's awesome. I really like Frank. But I think a lot of things get blown out of proportion sometimes. There's a lot of immaturity going on. And I would hope with time of being a YouTuber and stuff like that, that would come out and that stuff would stop. I'm just wants what's best for us and for the community. And who knows, maybe I don't know what that is. I just want Frank to do well. I want Paul to do well. I want Bert to do well. I want Sean Baker to do well. I want Dr. Barry and everybody to do well. Dr. Barry is dealing with some tragic events right now. His medical practice caught on fire the other day, and he's looking for a lot of people to come. Well, he's not looking for it, but people are starting to support him because of the unfortunate events that happened. His building caught on fire, and I think it was, by the time they caught it, it had already burned up the majority of what looked like was the whole entire top portion of the building. So his practice could not even be really saved. I think it's closed down right now until further notice. So if you guys could go give Dr. Barry some support, go over to his channel or something like that. Just say hi, you know, offer your condolences. He's got a Patreon and a GoFundMe. I think he's got all kinds of stuff that people can support him on. But that's something else that's going on in the community too. And I'm doing very well at my new job. I'm dealing with some stressful times. Obviously, financially, things have not been great for me. It's starting to come to an end, though. I'm starting to rolling in the paychecks coming every week, and financially start to pull myself back from the situation that I was in. You know, so that's looking good. I'm 70, so 10 o'clock was 72 hours. It's 2 o'clock, so 76 and a half hours into my fast right now. I'm going to go for 120 hours plus. I'm going to see how long I can do that. The pants that were my new work that I got for the new job Monday would not button, but I've lost so much backside. My ass has gotten smaller to now I can actually button my pants. So I know I've lost a substantial amount of weight. Check my ketones while I'm here just to see. My body has went through several phases of releasing glucose, and through those phases, 24-hour blood sugar drop, ketones go up, and then you have 48 hours, blood sugar will come up and drop, ketones go up and then back down, you know, depending on the period that you're in, and that's your muscle glycogen. So you got blood sugar for the first 24 hours, muscle glycogen for the second 24 hours, which equals 48 at that point, and then glucagon being released from the pancreas, your 72-hour mark, so it'll go back up and then come back down again. And then after that should be pretty smooth sailing, but it could happen again. Your body can actually release, or could actually create more. 1, 2, 3. Ah. 1, 2, 3. Oh, this thing ain't even working anymore. Come on. Let's get that blood. Let's see what we got going on here. So my blood sugar, just as I expected. Come on. $76. So my blood sugar is at 76 right now, and I'm going to check my ketone levels as well. There's a police officer casing the parking lot right now. He keeps driving around and around, checking all the cars that are in the parking lot. He keeps looking at me like I'm doing something weird because I'm on my phone, and now he sees me pulling out this blood meter and stuff, and he drove around my car twice already. 1, 2, 3. Had to pick a different spot because my skin is starting to get really thick where I always test. Okay, so we got this going on here. So ketones are going up slowly. I don't know if you guys can really see this here. Come on. There it was for a second. 1.6. So 1.6 millimolar, it's slowly climbing up. And that's exactly what I expected. You know, if you guys remember when I was talking about this from the beginning, I said 24 hours, blood glucose is going to go away. You're going to get an insulin spike, or not insulin spike. You're going to get a blood sugar spike. Ketones are going to drop back down in a fasted state. 48 hours, around the 48-hour point, it's going to happen again. You're going to have muscle glycogen is going to be depleted. Ketones are going to kind of come down. Blood sugar is going to go up temporarily. It's going to clear that out. Ketones are going to start to come back up again. Third ditch, last ditch effort for your body to start producing or throwing out the glucose as your pancreas is going to release enough glucagon to get your blood sugar back up as a last ditch effort to kind of raise that blood sugar to be up in that range that it wants to, muscle sparing. What'll end up happening is your body's going to take some time to clear that back out, and that's what happened today. My blood sugar went back up to 90 in that last ditch effort to fix things, and my ketones kind of came down to 0.9, but now it's already cleared out completely now. There's no more of that. So now what'll end up happening is my blood sugar is going to keep dropping. So it dropped from 90 to 85 this afternoon, and now it's down to 76. Tomorrow it'll be down around 66, and my ketones will be up around 2.2, 2.3, and it'll hang out there. And it'll just stick there. My body will keep my blood sugar right in the 60 range, and my ketones will be up over 2. That's normal for me, and that's what will happen throughout the duration of the fast. And it'll just stay there. And there was a lady that mentioned something earlier, and she said, well, wait a second, if your blood sugar drops below 70, statistically or medically, that's dangerous. No, that's not how it works. When your blood sugar drops below 70 and you're on a standard American diet, that's how it works. But when you're on a ketogenic or carnivorous diet and your blood sugar drops, you know, down into the 60s, but your ketones are, you know, 1.5 and above, or just when you've got a substantial amount of ketones present and you've got low glucose, that can be very normal, especially in a fasted state. When you're eating every day, even if it's carnivorous food, you're not really going to see numbers down in the 70s. Some people do, but it's very rare. But that's still normal for them because they're producing really good high amounts of ketones and really low glucose. That's okay. That's acceptable. It's when you start dropping blood sugar like crazy and you don't have ketones present, that's when you should start worrying. You need to have ketones present because now it's taking the place of that glucose, and that's just how fasting works. But anyway, my ketones are coming back up now, and they should come back up for the next couple days. Blood sugar should drop down. I've had it down to about 58 before during a dry fast. But all I'm consuming is sodium, potassium, and water. And again, I'm at my 76.5 hour mark right now. And I'm going to try to break 120 hours plus. We'll see what happens, see how good I feel. I mean, I've got that really high, like, metallic taste in my mouth where you can taste the acetone. I've got a really good amount of beta hydroxybutyrate in my blood right now. And I feel good. I feel good. I feel like I could do this for a long time. It's just the mentality of forgetting about food. That's the biggest part. So anyway, I don't want to keep you guys on here and keep rambling and rambling and rambling. This is now my evening. My second shift changed from 3:30 to 12. So when I get off work at 12, it's 2:30 in the morning here. Simply when I'm going to probably do some videos just so I can communicate with you guys and just let you know what's going on in my life, some things that I'm trying, things that I'm doing, I'm experimenting with. And I just appreciate you guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you supporting me all the time and watching my videos and stuff like that. I wish I put out better content or some kind of different content to get all 1,900 people watching, but that's simply difficult and it doesn't happen. If you have any suggestions on things that you would like to see changed or things that you want me to talk about or experiment with, I would be open to that. I'm going to do a kind of a crazy experiment coming up. Some people aren't going to agree with it, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know how I am. I just do it. I run with it. I do it. I do what I like doing the crazy stuff. It's kind of like it opens doors for me and I gain knowledge from it. Somebody asked me, I'm on the road all the time. Can I just stop at a deli and get a pound of salami and, a pound of like real Colby Jack cheese or something like that or whatever it may be and just live off of that while I'm on the road? And my first response was, absolutely. That sounds freaking awesome. I would love to do that every single day. And it could be pretty cheap if you've done it right. If you got like boar's head meat or something like that and you just made it work, I mean, you probably would spend, maybe it's not super cheap, but you'd probably spend between, $10 and $15 a day on lunch meat and cheese if that's how you wanted to live. And I thought to myself, I would love to freaking try that. I would actually love to have good quality salami and turkey and all this other stuff and ham and roast beef. Just shop the sales and stuff like that and see how that would affect my body. Never thought about that. Could it be done? So, yeah, that's a good idea. Anyway, I'm going to go get the dog out, go feed her, and I'm going to go to bed. I appreciate you guys again. God bless you and have a great night. I appreciate you.